Good morning, Wilmington, Delaware. This is E Live, and we're back again. L.W.U.M TV, Show 9. Very important show. We're here with the mayor, and we really want to let Wilmington, Delaware actually listen to what our commander in chief of the city has to say. How you doing, Mr. Williams?
How are you?
Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure.
To meet you too.
I just want to take time out and hear what you have to say. You know, it's a lot of talk in the city, but we want to hear what Mr. Williams has to say about what's going on with the city and where we can go.
Well, there's a lot of things going on with the city. There's a lot of good things. If you look at the economic development boom, we have a new hotel that was just completed, another hotel that'll be done in April of 2016, a new Marriott, another proposed hotel on the riverfront. There's been several housing developments that's been built under my watch in the neighborhoods. And I am very concerned about the neighborhoods and my ability to come in and create a better police and community relations is something that I strive for during the course of the campaign.
Okay.
I said our police department cannot be an occupying army, they have to be part of the community. We beefed up our community walking patrol up to 25 officers. Officers get out of the car, they talk to people. We have Mayor's Fun Day in the community all over the city where the mayor goes out with some of his staff and talks to the kids, plays games with the kids. We have pizza, hot dogs, other edible things at these events. I even play PlayStation. Some kids are shocked that I can play PlayStation. My nephew taught me a long time ago.
Right.
And these kids were standing in line at Northeast Elementary, which is the East Side Charter, to play the mayor.
Okay.
Of course, I couldn't get on. They were all better than me, so I got bumped every time it was my turn.
But you was there.
But I was there.
He was being a part of it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's important you're engaging, and that's wonderful. I'm going to get into it.
Yeah, it's
How do you feel about the violence?
Well, one of the things in this country is the proliferation of firearms are out of control.
Okay.
Some people still go back to the part of the Second Amendment of the Constitution and talk about the right to bear arms. Well, we have an armed militia, like the Constitution said. We know everybody doesn't need guns anymore, but we have people who have guns, and we have accessibility to get guns are so easy. And unemployment, education. And I'm gonna get right to the real nitty gritty. It's structural poverty and racism.
Okay.
And when folks live in these confined areas that businesses have moved out, there's no jobs, no education. The streets are hiring, and that's what we fall into.
Yes.
We can't arrest our way out of it. This administration has extended Parks and Rec program. We opened our swimming pools early.
Okay.
We expanded our summer job program where we hired almost 900 kids this year.
Okay.
Our college scholarships, we're giving kids an opportunity to see things like arts in the park. We go into different parks throughout the city, and we do Shakespeare. And a lot of people thought that kids weren't going to pay attention to this. We had about 60 kids the first year, then we had up to 190 kids the second year. Okay. So it's something different. I think kids should be exposed to everything.
Yeah.
I talked to young men. I mean, they did a story on me a while back in the News Journal when I went to my own home, Riverside, walk the community. I do quite a bit of that. I eat at a Jamaican restaurant at 28th and Market quite a bit. Sometimes I hold court there. I'm always in there, and Mama knows me very well. I purchase my food there. I'm in the barber shop in the 2800 block of Market. Okay. I'm in the barber shop at 10th and Bennett. I also eat at Popeyes 26 in Northeast. I go to the bus stops. Matter of fact, I was trying to do that dance called, we call it the Stanky Leg. and the kids were late for school because we were all at the bus stop clowning around that morning. Yes. So I had to put about 6 kids in my car and take them to school. They said, "You made us miss the bus, Mr. Mayor."
Wow.
But we had some fun that morning.
So it's important. You care about your kids, you care about your community, and that's important.
I came from this community.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Okay.
I came from public housing.
Okay.
I'm a homeboy.
So let's get a little of your background. How did you start? Like, we're gonna go all the way back.
Okay. Didn't start out too good.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Mr. Williams.
I had some incidents with the law when coming up. I took a car that didn't belong to me.
Okay.
And actually, it was my neighbor's car, and my neighbor, they asked my neighbor, "Would you prosecute?" He said, "No, that's no dance down the street. I can't do that." And I went to it was called Ferris Day, and my father let me stay there for 30 days. Let me know that this is where you go when you want to be a gangster. Yes. And I completely got it together because my grandmother told my father, "You go get him out of there now. I think he's learned his lesson." And I stayed on a course of positivity at that point, and knew that this wasn't the way to go. Again, I didn't have to do that. I liked the streets, me and my friends. And, I a lot of kids who came from broken homes, and
Yes.
there was no stability there.
Yes.
My mother used to take care of those children, and she would cook a lot of food. Sometimes we had 10 or 15 young men from the neighborhood over to our house,
Okay.
because that's the way my mother was. She didn't want them to get in trouble. And my mother was very strong on me and my brother. We were all successful, and my dad was very strong on me and my brothers. All of us were successful. Unfortunately, I lost my oldest brother to cancer when he was 44 years old. But other than that, we really regrouped. We were solid as a family. I have a lot of cousins in this city. You know, when my folks came here from Tennessee, I had 2 great aunts and 11 great uncles. And they all splintered off. They went to Pittsburgh. Some joined the Navy, and they're still in San Diego, California. Went to Detroit because of automotive. They went to Pittsburgh because of steel mills. Came here because of DuPont. Went to Washington, D.C. because of the U.S. Mint. There was plenty of jobs there. And this is where the bulk of my family is. It's in Washington, D.C., Detroit, Michigan, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, San Diego, California, and here in Wilmington.
Okay. So, moving on, you in return went to school, became a police officer.
I did. I
Okay.
joined the police force, and I tinkered around with college on and off. You know, when you get a chance to get away and have an opportunity to be on your own, well, I didn't do too well. They got a lot of things called F's, and my father said, "That's it. You know, you're coming back here, and you're gonna get yourself together."
Yes.
And I did. I joined the police force, and that's what started it all. And it was a great ride for me. It was amazing because they put me in 13 car, which is where I came from, in Riverside. And air conditioners didn't work that well in some of the police cars those days. I put the window down. They said, "Dennis Williams," you know, my boys on the corner.
Yes.
And they were all proud of me because they said, "You made it. You're one of us."
Yes.
And I mean, they were beaming with pride. They felt as though they were there. A lot of people thought that when I've been interviewed about this before, that they would be anti because I was a policeman. Not at all.
Okay.
They was glad that I just made it, and thankful for the things that my mother and father did for them when they were growing up.
Exactly. I said that to say because you were a police officer, you know what it looks like. You really know what the people, I would say, already been through.
Oh yeah.
And history does repeat itself. What can you add on to that, far as the police force and how they interact with the people? And as though you were a cop, you really know how they're supposed to combat in the streets. Is there any way that we could shape, how can I say, a coming together of the people and the police officers, like you said earlier?
Excuse me, but I'm gonna be laid back here since we're on TV. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. So.
You do that. You do that. I guess what I'm saying is,
I know where you're going.
yeah, because one of my shows where I guess the cops were engaging and the people were throwing rocks and bottles. I want to talk about that. Moving forward, is there a way where the people can be more comfortable and be at ease when the police officers are in their communities?
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of fear right now.
Well, I think it's some self-proclaimed promoters that are causing some of the ruckus.
Okay.
And that's unfortunate.
Yes.
And I do believe there is some fear, and there's some good folk in there that understand that police have a job to do. But let me say this: when you go into a neighborhood and you start to look at people as the enemy, it doesn't work on both sides. When you have a situation, even a crowd situation, it's all the way you come prepared to deal with that situation. If you come in with armored vehicles and flak vests and helmets, it looks like you come to fight.
Yes.
So the people on the other side start to, bristle up and get prepared and say, "Wow, there's no conversation here. It's combat already." One of the things that we found that years ago, even we had an incident on the west side where an officer assaulted this young Spanish male, and there was an explosion on 4th Street. And the Latino community came together and was starting to fight police. But one of the things we did is we sent officers in who had a rapport with the community.
Exactly.
And everybody else withdrew. And when those officers went in and had a rapport, they started talking to folks, finding out the key leaders and working with those folks and saying, "Hey, look, you've got to understand one thing. I understand you're frustrated, but you can't burn the businesses down. You can't hurt innocent people."
I understand.
And when people understand that and they say, "You know what, these guys got a job to do," they withdrew, and you know, peace became prevalent. And after that, there was a lot of Latino officers that were hired. There was a lot of great strides, just like after the riots, it was the same thing. A lot of African American officers were hired, a lot of African American officers were promoted. But somewhere along the line, we started forgetting that, and we started trimming every time there was a budget deficit. We started trimming things to neighborhoods, even policing. We can't do that. And that's one of the things I found when I came in. We had to advance more money to Parks and Rec, and we had to put our emphasis on police and community relations. And I made it perfectly clear to the officers that I've done what you're doing. I wore the same uniform.
Yes.
And I can't tolerate insurrection and disrespect to the community.
Yes.
And if you don't want to be here, there's other police agencies you can go to and join. No hard feelings.
Yes.
But we have a job to do, and the community is our support base.
Okay.
And when you go into a community, if you are not policing that community fairly, the community is going to be upset.
Wow.
If you're not laying it out there honestly, the community is going to be upset.
Yes.
And then you become an occupying army.
Yes.
And when you become an occupying army, you can't police.
Wow.
Because everybody looks like the enemy. And when that happens, it'll be on both sides.
Exactly, exactly. Wilmington, this is Eli, and we're here with Mr. Williams. We want to go ahead and take a break. It's an important show. I don't want to break, but we have to. After these messages, we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the internet station that does it all and plays it all? Are you searching for more of the hit music you love to hear? Tired of hearing the same 10 or 15 songs an hour like you do on most commercial radio stations? I believe I have a solution, one that will suit your ear and conveniently travel with you on the go. Check out the all-new 100 Do It All Radio on 100doitallradio.com and the mobile app on iPhone and Android app stores. Based out of the Delaware Valley, hitting you worldwide, 100 Do It All Radio is also showcasing the area's top DJ talents. Hear your favorite artists, past to present, and all the hits. Artists, labels, and music affiliates submit music or press materials to radio submissions at 100doitallradio.com. To advertise your brand or business, email us now at advertisewithus@100doitallradio.com. 100 Do It All Radio.
This is Eli, and we're back. Mr. Mayor, is there anything else you want to add on the violence piece before we move on?
Well, again, you know, when you have unemployment and folks that are uneducated and dropping out of school, and a society that continues to label a person as a felon and never give them an opportunity to shape that, it forces them back into the environment that they came from. It's a major recipe for disaster.
Wow.
It is. And these are something that we need to look at. We need to look at this gun violence. We need to look at how we can break down this felony process on people so they can get employment.
Yes.
We have to keep people in school, even our young men who dropped out of school. I encourage a lot of them to go back and get their GED.
Yes.
Matter of fact, there's a few since I've been the mayor, I've gotten them jobs with the city and other places. Go back and get your high school education. The world isn't over. Come on, man, pick yourself up and do your thing. I talk to them frequently.
Yeah.
I see basketball games. I go into parks and talk to these young men. I mean, they know me.
Yes, yes.
You know, they know exactly who I am.
That's a good thing.
I sit in places, and like I said, you know, I go to 26th Northeast, Popeyes 28th Market.
Yes.
I mean, there's kids that come in and say, "You the mayor." I have a little guy that rides by my house. He was helping me rake leaves up one day.
Yes.
And he kept looking at me and looking at me. I said, "What's going on, man?" He said, "I know who you are." And then I went to the ale house one Sunday after church, my wife and I, and a little boy jumped out of the booth, ran to me and hugged me and told his mother, "This is the mayor and I know him." And it was the same little boy raking leaves. His mom said, "Let that man go. He's not the mayor." I said, "Yes, I am." I said, "Your son comes to my house all the time when I'm out there working on the yard. If it's the leaves one part, or if it's summertime and I'm water hosing, he's out there."
Yeah.
Smart little kid.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
And that tells you something. You know, kids pay attention.
Yes, they do.
It's nothing that comes out of the mouth but truth of the baby.
Well, it's about the kids. That's why you're there. That's why I'm here. That's why we do what we do, because that's our future. If I feel like if we're not setting up a good future, then what are we going to have? So it's important that we're out here and making sure the public can see what's really going on. Because like you said, it's a lot of hecklers and a lot of people that's pushing the wrong thing. We want to push the right thing.
You know what I say to the hecklers? Show me one solution. One solution that you put on the table. Show me one idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're all hollering because they want to holler. And you have a right to do that. This is America.
Exactly.
Freedom of speech, First Amendment. But I
Yes.
don't pay that any attention.
Yes.
You know why? I know all about hecklers.
Mm-hmm.
When Dr. Jackson was the president of the Wilmington School District, they tried to bring somebody else in and ram down our throats, the city kids. I led the march and we sat down on Washington Street Bridge for PS Decline. All the schools walked out. Howard walked out. Wilmington High walked out. Jay lived at J Street.
Yes.
I think Jay led the walk out there.
Wow.
And we all met on Washington Street Bridge and we stopped traffic. And subsequently, 2 weeks later, Dr. Jackson became the superintendent of the Wilmington School District.
Mm-hmm. So we're on education. That's good. You shifted it right where I wanted to go. How do you feel about the education where it's at now, and how can we better it?
It's damaged.
Yes.
It's comatose. It's in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And I'll tell you, charter schools are not going to be the only answer. It's going to be parents,
Mm-hmm.
grandparents, mentors, business community, elected officials who really want to do something, and not just stand up beating on their chests and shouting, because I don't have time for that. That's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
We moved the person, Dr. Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Jenkins, we moved her into education.
Okay.
And she's doing this full time. We're coming up with reading programs. We're looking at where the needs are needed most in the city of Wilmington.
Okay.
We've had My Brothers Keeper twice.
Okay.
We're bringing young men and women in who want to help tutor, and we're bringing young kids in. Right now, we're doing our Be Cool, Stay in School. I don't know if you've seen our billboards.
Yes, I have. Yes, I
And
have.
our radio
I
commercials.
wanted to speak about it, but you're already talking about it.
Our radio commercials have been hopping for about probably since September. We're getting ready to do some more now on Power 99 WDAS. They're going to be quite expensive. I thought we could get some other inexpensive ways, but I know radio and television is expensive.
Yes.
But we're going for broke on this. And we're telling the kids, don't let people tell you walking down the street you're silly because you have books. No, don't do that. It's cool to be in school.
Exactly.
Because you know what? You're going to be where I am one day.
Yes.
And I told kids this. You know, I had my inauguration at my elementary school, Northeast Elementary, Riverside Housing Projects. I'm the first mayor that was inaugurated outside a government facility in the history of this city. I went back to where I came from. I wanted those kids to see me. My parents were divorced. I rode around in Mendenhall Court on a bike, singing a song, telling people I was going to be the mayor one day when I was 8 years old. They have a wall with my pictures on it.
Mm-hmm.
And all these kids look at that every day and they know that they can make it.
Like a mural.
Right. And no one can kill their dreams. And I keep telling them over and over again, never let nobody stop you from dreaming.
Yeah.
You know, I knew I was going to be the mayor when I was a little boy. And my mother, I was dancing on the table one time, and my mother told me to get off the table. My grandmother said, just make you take your shoes off. Ruby. My mom's name was Ruby. And I kept looking in the mirror with a bow tie, and I said, I'm going to save you people. I had clothes me. And my grandmother told my mother, leave him alone. He's going to be a lawyer or a politician. And here I am.
Exactly.
I had all the support in the world, and my brothers used to think I was crazy, because all they wanted to do was make money and politician, everything. We worked on campaigns. Of course, they made me do all the work when we were little.
Wow.
And then they got their little $5. We had a flexible flyer wagon when we worked on John Kennedy's campaign.
Okay.
And my brother sat in the wagon. And they had all the trail.
You know, it's important that it seems like if the mayor can do it, what he's saying is you can do it too.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's important.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure sitting here talking with you. You know, because everybody can always draw their own conclusion.
Sure.
But it's nothing like being in front of the face of the person that we're drawing a conclusion about. You know,
I have my sticklers. Sometimes I get a little shy, even though I'm good, I'm camera ready. Sometimes I don't want to be bothered with people, and my communication director, Alice Cottage, forces me to go to different events. You gotta go. And sometimes that little child comes up in you again, and you just want to say, enough is enough.
Yeah.
But then when you get there, you're happy. You're happy that you're there.
I want to ask you this, Mayor. With the economy and the way it's going now, how can we stimulate people that want to try to start a business? What can you tell them to try to stimulate the economy that will produce jobs?
Well, we've done a lot of things with small businesses through economic development grants. We have helped a lot of small businesses get off the ground. Pretty much, I go there, I cut the ribbon, I talk to the folks, see what we can do to help. If there's funding that we can find anything for them, we help them get started up. We promote them on our website. We promote them now in site. I go to different places and say, look, this place just opened up. Why don't you try this?
Yeah.
I'll go there and take a entourage of folks there. If it's a restaurant, we'll eat,
Yes.
or we'll go there and buy things.
Okay.
I mean, we just try our best to keep
Yeah.
promoting things.
Yeah.
We took Local 55 when they took young men off the corner who was, we were trying to get them employed. We took economic development grants to pay for their tuition and pay for their transportation.
Wow.
And we have 12 young men working right now, rehabbing houses, making $18 an hour and up. And we have 7 in the new class.
Uh-huh.
But out of the new class, 5 of them failed the drug test. So we had 12. So we have 7 now, but we're also trying to reach back and help those folks who failed the drug test.
Yes.
Because you can't throw them away, because if you do, they recycle right back in the same problems they were in.
Of course.
You try to get them into rehab, get them straightened out, and then you put them on the right track. And some of the young men have told me, they said, you know what, Mr. Mayor, it is good to earn a paycheck.
What do you say to the guys that had a situation
Mm-hmm.
and they're getting out of jail and they're trying to get work, but they're still hitting the roadblock?
Well, we have open door every Wednesday here. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we're here from 4 to 8. Is that right, Alex? We're here from 4 to 8 o'clock. A lot of young men come in here. We just got one young man. He did 17 years for robbery in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
We worked it out, so we got him in part-time in the city of Wilmington, and now we think we're going to be able to get him in full-time. He was persistent. He kept coming. He kept coming here, and that's what it takes. And he laid it out, and I looked at this kid, and I said, you know what, this guy really is serious. He wants a job.
Okay. Okay. I'm really enjoying this interview, sir. It really opened my eyes up to what you got going on. And I know it's a lot, but I want to say this much. In your campaign and you running, do you feel as though that everybody that you have in place, do you feel as though that these are the same people that are doing their job and they're doing it to the fullest?
Oh, you're good.
No, dude, I just, well, you're the chief, right? And I know that you can't see everything.
What you're basically asking, do you think I need to make some changes the next time?
Hey, I mean, you said it, I didn't say it, sir.
Yeah, there will be some changes.
Okay. I feel comfortable with everything I have. I really like this interview, and it's important that the city really got a chance to hear what Mr. Williams had to say. So we're going to thank you for everything that you gave us, and it was a pleasure, sir. And I'm going to ask you one more thing.
Yes.
The top of next year, as soon as the weather breaks, W U M TV, we know that we have to get in the streets and start cleaning it up. And we wanted to do a campaign and get all the leaders together and just clean the streets up.
Okay.
We want to start on one side of the town.
Okay.
So we're looking for help. Is there any way that you can help us with this street cleaning?
We can. My communications director, Alex, she does clean sweep, clean streets.
Okay.
We'll set something up. Matter of fact, you can get in touch with her and we'll work out something to get this done, because a clean city is a safe city.
Yeah. And I know we start there, because I remember when I was young, we used to get out every Saturday and clean the streets.
Yeah.
And we learned everybody.
Well, if you don't pick up trash in front of your house, you're part of the problem. I've always said that. If you don't speak to your neighbor, you're part of the problem.
Okay.
If you see crime going down and don't say anything, you're part of the problem. If you see little Johnny not going to school when his mother goes to work or his dad goes to work, and you don't tell on him or write a note and stick it in your mother's door, you're part of the problem.
Exactly.
Because you know if he doesn't go to school, the next thing is going to be several other people that don't go to school.
Mhm.
I know, me and my brothers did that. We had the neighborhood walking cop, Mr. Stan Williams, who lived around the corner, no relation.
Yeah.
And our neighbor, Miss Davis, told on us, and Mr. Williams came to the back door. We tried to run out the front door, but he had already called my dad, who worked at the post office. So they blocked us in the house and took us back to school.
Mhm.
And here we go, looking like fools, getting carried into school by the
Yeah.
police
Yeah.
and my father.
Yeah.
But
Now,
see, that was a community, and that's
Yeah.
what communities did.
I think with you being on board is pretty much going to make it complete. We have nurses that are registered nurses that's willing to get on board.
Mhm.
And when we go in the streets, what they're going to do is find the elderly people
Mhm.
and give them a helping hand.
Mhm.
We have men that's going to be the strong ones to clean the streets.
I like
and,
that.
and we're going to come and film it,
I
just
like
show Wilmington what it looks like to have a clean street with the leaders involved too. And then
I want more community people than politicians. See,
Okay.
one of the events I don't like to deal with when there's a lot of politicians, people look at me sometimes and say, "Why were you at that event?"
Mhm.
I said, "Well, most of those people have an agenda. I know places like Banner Avenue where I'm the only elected official there, sitting on the wall talking to kids from the hood.
Yeah.
Why do I want to be with all these other people when I know they have a hidden agenda? These kids on Banner Avenue don't have no agenda for me.
Okay.
They love me because I came from there. This is where I used to roam.
Okay.
You know, I stayed in the 1300 block East 23rd, right across from Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Okay.
I lived in 2906 North Claymont. But when my dad got us out of PJs, but we still lived about 2 blocks away from the PJs.
Yes.
Then my father moved on Pine Street in Fernwood. And then when I started acting out, my mother sent me to my dad because I was acting out. And I asked her, why are you doing this to me? She said, I'm trying to save your life.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it worked out. But I would always tell my dad, can I go over on Bower Street with my boys? I ride my bike there. They were my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I hung around. I never did leave that community.
Yes.
I always hung around over there.
Yes.
And it was so ironic when I became a policeman, that's where they assigned me.
Because you already knew the area. It made sense. It made
did.
sense.
And I can tell you some of the policing strategies back in the early 70s were very unique because I knew the courtyard where people would run to a certain location. And I knew the players. And half the time we didn't have to make arrests because I knew everybody. And that was the game plan for the police department, their new way of policing.
That's the purpose of
They
starting
didn't want to make
with
arrests.
Yes.
They wanted to bring people to a
Mhm.
situation where there wasn't any violence.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, that's Dennis, man. I'm not running.
Yeah.
You know, really, I got a warrant on me, Dennis. And we said, look, man, turn yourself in Monday because
and get it taken care
back in the old days, you know, you didn't have Gander Hill. They take you way downstate.
Mm.
And you're going on Friday, you couldn't get out to Monday or Tuesday.
Wow.
And people would turn themselves in. To be honest, because the court was open. See, it was primitive back then. The courts wasn't open on the weekend, none of that stuff. But when you had a relationship with people, that's the way it all worked out.
And that's what we want to get back to. We really want to move forward with this street cleanup thing. We know it's very big,
Right.
because at the end of the day, this will control a lot of the violence in our community.
Well,
Because
some
everybody will know each other.
and some of the kids that even are thinking about perpetrating things will come out
Yes.
and do things. I'm
Yes.
serious.
Yes.
I had so many kids on my campaign that were, they'll be first-time voters this time.
Wow.
But some of the kids I took on the campaign, people said, don't take them because they're bad. No, I took care of them, paid them, fed them, and tried to teach them
They're
certain
human.
things. And you know, half of those kids now got jobs, stayed in school because they were with us. And we ran a campaign for about a year.
Man.
And we had 2 offices. So
Yes.
we took a lot of kids from the community, and they got an opportunity to look at politics and see
Yes.
what the real world's all about.
Yes.
And some of those kids that would have drifted, they're going to be candidates for office one day. You watch this.
See what I'm saying?
And they're going to be good elected officials.
That's beautiful, sir. Again, I want to thank you. This has been a wonderful interview.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait till we do the street cleanups.
I'll be there.
Wilmington, Delaware. This was Mayor Williams, Eli. You guys have a good day, and I hope you enjoy the show.